So nice to be here with you. Surya Little and I are presenting our class that we're going to be teaching in the end of October 2024 in Santa Fe. This is a weekend workshop, and I thought it might be nice to share with you, since you're considering this as you're watching this, the story of how we've come together. And Surya, I'm so glad to be here with you.
It's wonderful to be here with you.
Yeah. So it was 20 years ago exactly that you were pregnant with your son. And I showed up at a New York Yoga Journal conference. And I took a day-long workshop retreat with you and Tias at this conference. You were in the middle of building your home here in Santa Fe. You were talking about the Vastu principles and how excited you were, and your belly and your body and your whole potential was everything was open. And I will never forget the feeling of seeing you and saying, that is aspirational to me 20 years ago. And since then, I've been your student of you and Tias for all this time. I've come to really admire the sort of empty field of your teaching, where you welcome people with so much precision and care and grace and detail, and also a lot of space in your teaching. And that's, I think, what initially inspired me to suggest that we teach together here in Santa Fe, and it's finally coming to fruition. And I'm just so honored to be with you, and just thank you. Thank you for trusting me.
Thank you. I'll never forget that day when, I don't know what brought it, that I called you and I know now. I was going to the next level with, off to school, and I was having a hard time.
Yes.
And then your question back to me was, what will it take to go to the next step, or what do you need? And then I said, the teachings, to be around you. Could we do something? And that was a very magical moment.
It was magical. And I think it's also worth it to let our viewer know the way that we actually did come together was during COVID, when my family and I moved here thinking we were coming temporarily. One of the first things we did that was public, of course, during that time was very tenuous, was outdoor pizza with Tender Fire Kitchen. If you're coming to Santa Fe, really try and go to Tender Fire Kitchen, wherever he's parked, Ben Krosky. And you come running over to me and we're like, Elena. And I was like, oh my God, Surya, I'm so happy to see you. And we hugged. We didn't even think about it. And it was such a joy. It brought so much joy back into my body to have a connection like this in Santa Fe. And that was the beginning of what's now a 4+ year friendship.
Yes, and everyone was looking at us like, why are you hugging each other? And I just said, it's Elena, what do you mean?
We're hugging. Like, that's what's happening. We're hugging. And now, of course, we are aware of how silly that entire situation was, but that's a story for another day. We're just so happy to come together. This retreat is, like we said, it's a weekend retreat. We'll have several classes together where we'll sort of toggle back and forth in teaching. But coming back to yourself as two women, as two longtime teachers, I can safely say that both of us are senior teachers in this world of yoga. It is such an honor to come together specifically for women, with women, to offer this opportunity to bring both a lot of precision and a lot of space, sacred space, to these classes. And something special is coming, and I don't know what it is. That's such a great feeling.
Agreed.
Such a great feeling.
Just to be able to come to this, our temple space is such a great place to be able to share the Dharma and the teachings, to come back to ourselves and be held in such sacredness. So I really look forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk a little bit about the sort of program itself. Will be coming together on the Friday, correct?
Yes, Fridays.
Again, wonderful. And I think we're going to have kind of an initial sort of intention setting. Obviously, as you can see, if you're watching this, that Surya is in a really beautiful studio space that's very zen. One of my favorite places to be in Santa Fe, in fact. And we will welcome you. We will have a practice. We will create space that following day, Saturday, to eat lunch together. You're
Both
invited.
Friday
Yeah.
and Saturday lunch.
Ah, okay, great, great, great. That's what I'm totally forgetting. You'll have catered lunch Friday and Saturday, right? We're gonna have 5 2 to 3 hour classes. So it's quite a lot of time in practice. Um, and I would also love to add that there will be some writing prompts. And I think that you'll come away from this retreat with some really good information, almost like a map for your future self for how to think about what the work is for you going forward. And I'm really excited to teach with you, Surya. That's the truth.
And me.
Yeah. So the website obviously is going to be here under the video where you're watching this. But if you're watching this on socials, if you comment coming back, one word, you will receive the link to this. Otherwise, the website is elenabrower.com/programs and /coming back. You'll find this on my calendar as well. And you'll also find it on the Prajna Yoga calendar also. Surya, it's a real honor. The Airbnb is probably the best place to stay. If you want to stay in a local hotel, that's going to be awesome too. You'll want to rent a car because you'll want to drive from your hotel to the temple, obviously. And we're just really looking forward to having you. Is there anything else that you would add, Surya?
But just if people do have questions, there's been a lot of inquiry just about accommodations and what should we do. There are some local places to stay around us. People have been biking or walking. And so if you connect with our office, Christina, she's incredible. She will definitely help you out. But I just think it's such a great time of year in, October to come back to ourselves, to really nourish that sense of self once again, before we turn back deep within for the winter. So I look forward to sharing the teachings. I look forward to being with like-minded women who are sharing.
I think you just touched on the last point that I would love to visit with and ask you about, which is this idea of the fall being this sort of bridge period to turning inward. And I love the idea of turning the light inward as Dogen taught it in Zen, Soto Zen. There's so many little tiny wounds and pains that all of us are going through, both individually and collectively. And I think this is a time for us to kind of come together. It's a small group, it's only about 20 people. So it's very intimate. Come together and just begin the process of looking inward to heal those wounds, or at least visit with them and feed them so that they can be released eventually. And seasonally, Surya, talk to us a little bit about what we're going to be, or any idea about what we're going to be having for lunch on the 2 days that we're eating together for lunch.
I think I've been working on that. I think it's just about coming closer, to the foods that are growing more naturally, which are a little bit more hovered around over the ground, not, summertime, we reach for everything. So I think September, October, we want to start to bring foods that are rounder and a little bit more warming. So we'll include some of those foods. It would mostly be vegan, of course, natural foods, adding some definitely good proteins, and just well nourishing, warming, coming back a little closer to ourselves with our food and practice.
And the practices, I look forward to having both some sort of very active, warming, vitalizing practices, and also practices that remind us of how easy it is and how important it is to turn inward, to rest. That's going to be so sweet.
internal.
I wish I could be
Main-
both a student and a teacher here. That would be amazing. Um, Thank you so much, Surya, for your time. To our viewer, you know where to find us. Please do feel free to reach out to the Prajna Yoga office. I'll make sure that the email is here below. If you have any questions about Airbnbs nearby. And just thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.